What's up, guys? Matt here with Khaos Art, and welcome to your 5th tutorial. I think we're on. No, it's number 6. We're on number 6. There we go. Because I remember, I just looked at number 5. Welcome to your 6th tutorial, and in this one, you're going to be learning about shapes. So if you took geometry in school or you went to kindergarten, you should know everything you need to know about shapes. But Adobe Photoshop shapes are slightly different. So let's go ahead and jump into this. First thing you need to do is open up your Adobe Photoshop and then create a new document. I've already done that. And then next thing you need to do is look over at your toolbar wherever you have located it. Mine is over here on the left side. And down here at the very bottom you can see this square. For this is hotkey U, and you can see it's the rectangle tool. If you click and hold on that tool, you can see there are several options within it. Let's get that out of the way. There we go. Rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, and custom shape tool. All of these are vectorized shapes that you can use. So let's go ahead and start off by looking at the rounded rectangle tool. You've already seen the square tool. There's no need for anything. No need for more squares. So as you can see, you have more options up here at the top. You have the shape, of course. You don't want to select path or pixels unless you're trying to do that. You have the fill and stroke. Anybody who's semi-familiar with Photoshop should know what stroke is. It's just an outline around your object. And within these options, you have the ability to turn the fill or stroke off, solid, gradient, or a pattern. So I'm just going to put it on solid, and then you have your color options down here. Stroke, I have my stroke turned off. The thickness of your stroke, you can change that manually or you can do it with the slider. And the stroke types. So you have solid, dashed, and dotted. Then you have the line, caps, and corners on that. But we're not going to be talking about that today. So next we have the width and height. These are options that you can default set up for your objects. So if I set it to be 100 pixels by 100 pixels and I click the screen, automatically it's 100 by 100. So that's a nifty little thing if you're trying to get an exact size and you're not having good luck trying to do it by yourself. It can be kind of difficult at times, but generally I try to do it by eye, but if I can't, great options right here. So next we have the accommodation options, I guess. I've never seen a name for them, so I have no idea what they're called. Basically what they do is when you have two shapes merged together, you have these options that you can go in and change, and it allows your shape to look differently or react differently. Right now it's just on new layer because you're creating a new layer and shape. Then you have your alignment options. Those are default. Then you have your Then you have your order options. So you can bring it to the front, forward, backward, shape to the back, all these different things. And those also correlate with your accommodation options. Next we have these little nifty options right here on the cog. You have unconstrained, which is just letting me make the shape any size that I care for it to be. The width and the height over here would change that to fixed size. And then you have the width, which would be 100 by 100 or whatever else you want it to be. But that's 100 inches, by the way, not 100 pixels. That was just created. That'd be a massive square. But I don't want to mess with fixed size. You have square, so whenever you click, it'll always be in a square. You can always do that by holding down Shift whenever you create the vectored image. So if you just hold down Shift, it'll give you a perfect circle, a perfect square, a perfect polygon, anything that you're trying to do. Also, if you hold down Option or Alt, it'll do it from the center, and it's possible that you can hold them both down to the point of where it'll give you a perfect square or circle or whatever it is, but it also comes from the center of your page or the center of wherever you're clicking, so it'll be perfect. Then next you have the proportional, 1 and 1. This is just proportional to basically the size of your square. To me, it's the same thing as making it squared. So I try to kind of avoid this. I don't really care for it. I've never used it before. But it is totally possible that somebody's watching this right now and is like, oh my god, I needed that. So next we have from center. Same thing as holding down Option or Alt. It just goes from the center. And you can have that and squared at the same time. So those will be your little secondary options there. Good. Go back to unconstrained. So the radius on this is, since we're using a rounded rectangle, the edges of the rectangle are 5 pixels. let's go ahead and make one. Holding down shift, you can see that it makes a perfect square. Holding down alt or option brings it from the center. But alright, so now you can see they'll have nice little curves on the edges of the square here. Now let's make this 50. Much bigger circles, or much bigger edges. So you can see a huge difference in the edges on these than you did on this one. What that did is I changed the radius of the pixels, which is basically just the outside of it, saying that I want it to be 50 pixels around instead of 5 pixels around. So, very simple, and every shape has its own options like that, and it'll always be down here on the right side. So you have the rounded rectangle, square doesn't have any. You have the ellipse, which also doesn't have any, because what are you going to do with this circle? Polygon tool allows you to change the number of sides that you have. Then line tool, the weight, which is the thickness of your line. And the custom shape tool, which has all these different shapes that you can load up and use. Just like brushes, you can click on your cog, go to load shapes, and you can load them off your computer, and you can also download more shapes or create your own shapes by my previous videos. And pretty useful. I love using custom shapes, especially this one right here, the compass right here. I've created so many of them, and I just realized after the 15th time of me making this tutorial that this is on here, and I was just like, oh god, I could have used that. But hey, now I know, and hopefully I helped one of you guys out there. So that's pretty much it for shapes. Other than that, they're all vectorized, so you can make them any size you want. If you've seen my vector tutorial, you'll understand what that means, or if you have any experience with digital media. So you can make it as big or as small as you want. It won't affect it whatsoever. And the accommodation options. That's what I was going to talk about. So let's say we have this shape here. Copy that. Now we have two shapes here. Alright, so two separate shapes, two different layers, right? We're going to click both of them, merge shapes, and now they're one shape. But whenever you click on it, you can see where they're overlapping. So what I want to do is I want only this overlapped area to show. So I'm going to select A on my keyboard, or come over to the little selector tool. I'm going to select both shapes by holding down shift. I'm going to go up to the accommodation options, and you can see they're currently on combined shapes. I want to do extrude overlapping shapes. Well, that's the opposite of what I want to do. I want to do intersect. There we go. Intersect. That allows you to see the center of your little area. And you can always go through, you're never going to mess it up. You can always go through and you can change it to extrude. You can change it to subtract. You can change it to combine. However you want to do it. There's really no way to mess this up. You can also only select one of these if you care to. You don't need to select both. So let's go to subtract now. And it only subtracts that one from the shape. You can go to intersect. Doesn't do anything because they both have to be selected. But you can always go back and mess around with these and see what you think. The tool that I had you select with hotkey A is your direct selection tool. You also have your path selection tool. And what these do are allow you to change your paths or your shapes. So you can go in and select your anchor points, move them around, make them bigger, make them smaller. You can do whatever you want. Since it is a shape, you have all these abilities to where you can just manipulate it however you please. And you're not really going to mess it up because you can always go back and remake it. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this helped you out a whole bunch because it really helped me out. Actually, while I was making it, I'm learning all these new things that I use shapes all the time, but I'm just like, wow, I never thought about that before. But if you have any questions, feel free to comment, feel free to message me. I respond to everything that I could possibly answer. Even if I can't answer it, I'll look it up and try to answer it. So thank you for all your support, and thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, guys.